Just what he says. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to have a good time. Won't give up on you. We are starting soon. Let me know where you are joining from. Hey, Ife, let me know where you're joining from. And if you don't mind, let me know. If you are single, give me a 1. If you're married, give me a 2. We are going to talk about a topic that is much needed. That is really important. And we are starting momentarily. Thank you all. I see Dr. J. Yes, I see you. Abena Frema, I see you. Eunice Entry Mensa, I see you. Adovalaye, I see you all. Afro J, thank you, thank you. Star of Angels, I like your name. Linda, my lawyer, I see you. NK Kids, I see you. Yes, I see 2s and 1s. Let me just see. Keep typing. Ghana. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All the way from Ghana. Thank you for joining. If you're single, give me a 1. If you're married, give me a 2. The topic will be a blessing to both singles and married people because we're going to be talking about both. All right. So I think we can start. Let me just bring down my song a little bit. All right. Thank you. So I see 2. Yeah, I see my husband. Just be quiet there as I do my thing, okay? Let me talk about roles and responsibilities here. But yes, my husband is right here to support. I'm so thankful, my dear. You've been such an amazing support. We've walked the walk and we've come far because of your partnership, and I appreciate you so much. Reverend Mike Portuphy, Apostle Mike Portuphy. Okay, all right. I'm being silly here. But let's get right into it. So, as we get along or as we're going along, feel free and invite your friends. Feel free, invite your husband, invite your wife, invite your partner, whoever, if you're in a relationship, because they need to hear this. But let me start off by saying that or quoting a scripture, and you will tell me if the scripture is correct or not. So if you can, open your Bibles with me to Roles of Spouses, if there's anything like that, chapter 1. You heard me right. Roles of Spouses, chapter 1. And in verse 1, it says, marriage is a 50-50 deal. Anyone who doesn't commit to this deal commits the greatest sin. Roles of Spouses, chapter 1, verse 1. Marriage is a 50-50 deal. Whoever does not commit to this deal commits the greatest sin. When you go further down to verse 15, it says, any woman who does not do all the cooking, all the cleaning, doing all the cleaning and everything in the house, taking care of the kids, does not model after the Proverbs 31 woman. I'm sure you are just there wondering, what is he talking about? Yes, I said Rose chapter 1, verses 1 and 15. Is there anything like that? Obviously not. And I know, or I can imagine you know where I am coming from. Today, I want us to consider a topic that is really complicated. And I started using the wrong scripture. And just in case those who were not able to locate it, Roles of Spouses, the book of Roles of Spouses comes after the book of Revelation. Yeah, it comes after the book of Revelation. That should tell you that it does not exist. And in many circles, people have written their own Bibles when it comes to the roles of husbands and wives. But because we are Christians, we want to get into the Bible and actually see and know and learn what God actually prescribes for us, or what expects from us, instead of what we think we know or what we expect from each other. And so that is what we're going to be talking about. And that topic is the roles and expectations of husbands and wives in a marital union. And I said it would benefit singles because before you get married, you have to be talking about responsibilities and roles. And oftentimes, because we don't talk about that, is why we have a lot of issues when we get into marriages. And so we are here to arm ourselves with the right tools, the topic on this topic that is not really talked about, so that we'll do it the right way, so that we would partner with each other the right way. So today we are not going to tiptoe around the elephant. We are going to hold the elephant by its horn and just, say that this is how we do it. This is a situation. This is an issue that exists in many homes. This is an issue that bothers a lot of women particularly, and men as well. Let me be honest, because some men also struggle through understanding what their roles are, and their wives always complaining that you're not helping me and all of that. Get right into it. But whilst we are on it, feel free, invite your friends, invite your loved ones. Here she is. You're looking good, girl. Oh, so good to see you. Yeah.
Thank you. Good to see you too.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much. So here is Dr. J, and I have a few questions to ask you as we go into this topic. But wherever you are, invite your friends and let me know if you have any questions. Just drop it in the chat room, and we'll be more than happy. Right there. Don't miss out. Yeah, send in your questions, and we'll be very, very happy to address those questions. But Dr. J, before we move on, let me just quickly read two scriptures for the overly spiritual who would think, okay, we're talking about a complicated topic. Where's God in this? Galatians 6:27, it says, carry each other's burden. 6:2, I'm sorry. Carry each other's burden, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. Galatians, carry each other's burden, and in this way you'll be fulfilling the law of Christ. And in Genesis 2:18, it says, it is not good for a man to be alone. I'll make a suitable helper for him. Or in some versions, it says a comparable helper. So the first scripture in Galatians talks about love, unconditional love, like being there for each other, just like 1 Corinthians 13. And then in the Genesis 2:18 says it's not good for a man to be alone. So here we're talking about complementarity, teamwork, etc. Do we have specific roles when it comes to roles and responsibilities for men and women?
Good question. May God be my help. Lord help me. Do we have roles for husbands and wives? I would say
and
yes.
I think I will connect it to whether there's this whole 50-50 deal in marriage, roles, responsibilities even exist. Yeah.
Correct. So I do believe that there are roles for husbands and wives as ordained by the Almighty God Himself.
Tell me about
so I do believe that there are roles. I think when we talk about roles, people automatically go to domestic chores and house roles and, cooking and cleaning. So we'll come to that, but let's start from the top in the big picture. Big picture, we have roles as husbands and wives. And these roles was put together by the creative genius called God Himself.
Right.
And in that creation, He made it that a husband has a role where he is the head of the home. So right there, we know that God has established a role. Immediately we see there's the head of the home and then there is the wife. People say that the man is the head and the wife is the neck. I don't know what body parts the wife is, but all I know is that the wife plays a role in partnership with the husband. But we know clearly that the husband is the head of the home. We also know that the husband is the priest of the home. We know those duties of husband and wife, right? But then it comes to practical everyday. Once we've established the authority, so to speak, once we've established that kind of hierarchy, which again, so to speak, people don't like those terms, but to me, when you have two people in any institution, in any organization, there has to be some leader. That is why even in a church we have elders, but we have the presiding elder. You know, when we go to work, we have, you know, a whole lot of professors, but we have our chair. She's also a professor, but she is in charge, or he will be in charge of all the professors. It doesn't mean that, you know, but it brings order. So now that the order has been established, that in a home, the husband has that order of being the in charge of the home. There's no debate in that. Now it comes to everyday roles. Is it 50-50?
So before you get into the 50-50, sorry to interrupt, but yes, I think we all know as Christians, the husband is the head of the home. It gets very complicated, and I think we'll have an IG live on that, because it's not the head as men see it. It's like yourself, you know, like serve a leader, like you're here to serve as Christ, you know, came to serve. But the point I'm trying to make is that if you are the head of the home, isn't like you're not the head of finance, you know, the head of the finance department, or the head of it's something else. The home has the kitchen, the bathroom, the living room, the bedroom, right? So you are the head of all of this, and you are coordinating, and the woman is helping. Do we all agree, or do you agree with me, Dr. J?
I do. You are right.
Great.
There are different sectors in the home. And so what does that really mean in practice? That's a good
Exactly.
point.
So a reason why I brought this up is that I was talking to somebody, and the person was like, my husband says that he's the head of the home, and so I have to take care of the head of the family, you know. So the wife, has to take care of the family, the kids and all that, because he is the head of the home. And I was like, he is the head of what? So does it mean that you are the head of the bedroom where you do your thing? You know what I mean? Like, and the head of the living room where you stretch your legs and relax, but not the kitchen? It means that something is wrong. And so I think I just wanted to, you know, we're just being silly here, but truth be told, the husband being the head, the wife being the helper, what does that mean? Let's break it down. Let's break it down.
So from my experience, that means that the husband is in charge of everything in the home.
Exactly.
From my understanding, it means that you are in charge of the kitchen, you are in charge of every aspect of the home.
Yes.
But as far as what do you do in those areas, you know, can be different. So in the kitchen, as the head, if the kitchen is dirty, does that mean you don't clean? I don't think so. Because you are the head, you have to make sure that everywhere is good. So in practice, it's actually a lot of work to be the head of the home. So I thank God for giving it to the men. And men who have understood this role and have played it well, they know that it cuts across. Head doesn't mean that you manage the finance and I don't have a say in it. It means that in every area, you and I are there. And in those spaces, when it comes to decision making, you have some authority to say, this is how we should run, and talk about it and say, you know, how do we manage? Do we shop once a week? Should we shop once a month? You know, should we cook in bulk? You can be a part of that as the head of the home, and you should be a part of every aspect. From child care, you should be involved. From home management, how we tidy the house, you should be involved, because the house has so many umbrellas under it. And as the head, you cannot say, I've chosen what I want and you take care of this. I don't think that's proper. I think you should be informed, be involved of when you are being the husband, in my opinion, that God has called you to be. You cannot be ignorant about any of the home roles. So do on the
Wonderful.
day-to-day, though, it can be different. On the day-to-day, what we do in those spaces can be different, right? And so when it comes to roles, is it 50-50? What do we do in the kitchen? I clean half and you clean half, or I cook half and you clean, I cook the rice, you cook the yam?
Even when you are sick, you have to do your 50%.
I don't I don't think that's rational at all. I don't think that is rational at all. I believe that even in an organization, everybody has their area of expertise, right? So even though we are both involved, but maybe in one area, I am very strong at that. So you can handle that area. I don't believe in 50-50, first of all. I don't think there's a way to even measure 50-50. I think it becomes very selfish, very overwhelming, too calculative, and I don't think it's healthy. What I believe works is that when the two people are a partnership, then we basically cover each other in every space. I think that's the best case scenario. If you have a partner that is willing to partner with you in every single area to make sure things are running smoothly, I think that's the best case scenario. As to how the partnership will work, 30, 40, 70, I don't know. But at
2%,
the end of the day, it will be
98.
100%. So it won't matter.
But you know, Janet, one thing I realize is that when someone is wounded, they become aggressive, right? They fight. So I believe this 50-50 deal, those who hold that perception or concept are coming from a place of, I'm not going to come into the marriage to be trodden over, for you to see me as a slave, a servant, and all that.
Right.
And I hear that a lot from single ladies who haven't experienced the 70-20, 30 or 75, and all of that after marriage. And I can understand why they may hold that view, because they've seen things. They've seen women who have been taken advantage of, men who think women have to do everything in the home. And because of that, they feel like we need to fight. But young ladies, let me tell you one thing. The 50-50 deal is not scriptural. Let's just be blatant and say that. Because you may call for it, but what if you are sick? What if, you are out of job, your husband is not working? Things really change in marriage. Marriage is very fluid. The advice I'll give to you is that just be careful who you get married to. But if you marry the right person who loves you, who supports you, who respects you, even though they may come from a place, of, I don't know how to do this, daddy, mommy's boy, who was spoiled to the latest, whatever it is, so long as he loves you, he will find a way to work it out. I always say that sometimes some of us, like people like me, I love to run the kitchen. I don't want people to interfere. I don't want my husband to just interfere. I love to run the kitchen. He does other things. But then the fact that I'm in the kitchen does not mean that prescribe the role of a kitchen maid servant on me. That's what I wouldn't take. But I don't mind cooking, doing all the dishes in the home. I just want to be appreciated. For you to let me know that I know you stand on your feet 3 hours, 4 hours to do this work. I appreciate you. I love you. Your food is delicious. And then you may be cleaning the living room and all of that. So young ladies, the 50-50 deal does not exist. It does not also mean you'll be a maid servant in your home.
That's
Marry
right.
right.
That's
Marry
right.
right.
Marry
Marry
a
right.
kind person.
Yes,
In
that's the word.
all your marriage qualifications, put I need a kind man. Add
After
it
a
to your prayer list.
God-fearing man. But
Yes.
not all God-fearing men.
God and
So
kind.
we pray for grace.
God
Let's move
fearing
on to
and
the next
kind.
question. I think we can. Kind, God fearing and kind. Let's move on to the next question before we can sleep on this 50-50 deal forever. But at what point do you think a woman or a man may do too much, and I will be doing too much? And I add men because I'm a marriage counselor and I counsel. For the most part, the women are overly burdened. But in some marriages too, it could be that the man may think, even though he may not necessarily too much or something like that. So how much is too much? If you're saying that we don't have a 50-50 deal, so definitely at some point one person may be given 70%, the other person may be given 30%.
Oh,
At what
yeah.
point is it too much for one part?
At the point where you feel extremely overwhelmed and you feel you can't handle it, speak up. Again, we are in a relationship, we're in a partnership. For instance, I would have loved to cook a mutuo, diehuo, jollof, but today the tiredness has over me. So I can't do that. And that's where, when you know that it's too much, and maybe your spouse cannot cook. Sometimes, if your spouse can cook, they can help you in the kitchen. But in my case, for instance, if my husband does not know how to cook, and I'm trying to give, a good 80% of myself to cooking, and that day I can't, that week I can't.
Yeah.
If you have a reasonable head of your household, be able to understand that today it is just not cutting it. This week, this month, maybe it's okay if we order out.
No mutuo on the menu.
No, so let's do something light. Let's fry some yam and go. Something 2 minutes and go. let's hurry it up. So I think when it gets overwhelming, for even the men, I feel like they don't even want to share when they are overwhelmed. They have their own things that they're doing in their head, making sure things are well and providing and all of this. Men have their own things that they worry about, and women have things that they worry about naturally. Men will be worried about certain things, and naturally women will be worried about certain things. I think for the man too, the thing that you normally worry about, if it's overwhelming to you, bring it to your wife and let your wife know that this thing, I've been trying to get us, a 4-bedroom house in this place. I've been thinking about how we can manage the funds and it's not going. When it becomes overwhelming, maybe you are carrying that load 80%. Offload some of it, open it up. Woman, to the areas that you carry a lot of it, maybe 90-80%, like folding clothes, washing the clothes. If you can't get to it, maybe you can bring it up, open up about it and say, honey, every time I try to finish this thing by Saturday, by Friday, it's not working. What do you think? Maybe he can offer to do it on Tuesday evenings for you. Or maybe he'll say, wash it, I'll fold it. But if we don't communicate, that's when we roll. Communication is key.
That's right.
In every area. Every area.
Thank you so much. I think for those of us who are on here, we've established that, rigid gender roles do not necessarily have any biblical warrants. So yes, the husband is the head of the home. The Bible says it and all of that, but it doesn't mean he's the head in certain spaces and not other spaces, and not have biblical warrants. There's nothing like rules of spouses chapter whatever. There's nothing like that. So any spouse that may be using the Bible right thing. And definitely one party may be overwhelmed at some point in time, but as Dr. J mentioned, you just excel in areas that you have strengths in. And one thing I've realized in marriage is that opposites come together to marry. Like I, for one, when we got married, I love to cook, I love to clean, I love to do all those things. I did not like cleaning the bathroom for whatever reason. I'll do it, but I just hated cleaning the bathroom. I hated to do ironing and certain little things. But interestingly, those were the chores that my husband enjoyed doing. And because there's love and understanding, I don't force him, go do this. Men, sometimes you have to remind him, which is normal. That's another thing. Men think differently from the way women think. So sometimes we can be demanding. That is where a man will just pull away from you, because men don't want to be bossed around. They have this thing called ego. That's what allows them and enables them to lead effectively. But if that ego is not managed well, it can be disastrous. But you, the woman, you have to find a way to tend the ego so that it would be channeled in the right way. So you realize your husband may love to do certain things that you don't love doing, and vice versa. But you just have to find a way, a safe space for him. Or as a man, you realize the things you don't like doing, your wife loves to. Dr. J, awesome. Yeah. Can
Yes.
you finish up? I think
Yeah.
we're talking about why
So why
women
women do more?
do
I don't
more.
think women
And I
should do
think,
more.
yeah,
I think
so
that our culture
you
has
don't, you think,
influenced that
mhm.
kind of idea, especially
Okay.
us from Africa. I'm from Ghana. So when I came to America, when I go to certain American homes or different culture homes, I see men cleaning, cooking, changing diapers, and doing things that to them it's very normal. So I realized that it's our culture that made the role look the way it did. And that's because of how things started back then. Our fathers would work, our mothers would stay home and do all the cooking and cleaning. And because we are part of the culture, some of it has transferred onto us, and we've taken some. But the beautiful thing about culture is that we don't throw it away, but we can modify it, or we can learn what the meat of that training is, and also make it current, make it today. Some people think that now we're changing the culture, but no, times are different. People are working, and also we don't live, in Ghana, for instance. Even if you live in Ghana, things have changed. And with that, the roles have slightly moved around. It hasn't changed completely, but I think it's a cultural thing. It's a cultural thing, and it shouldn't be that way. So what I was trying to say and to conclude is that find a spouse that your roles for the home or your vision for your home align. There are some people in 2023 who still feel like women should do all the cooking, all the cleaning, all of everything domestic, and all they have to do is to bring money. I don't want, personally, I didn't want a partner like that, because yes,
I also want to bring money, right?
you know.
Dr. J is working so hard because she
So
also wants to
basically,
bring money.
my when I was looking, it was so important to me because I knew what my vision for my life is, what God has called me to do, and it'll require me to sometimes be outside the home. So I was looking for a partner who understood the call of God upon my life, the role of God upon my life. I'm a wife, but I'm a child of God, and sometimes God has assignments for us in the marketplace. And I needed someone who could support the vision and someone who we align. So it was so important to me. And so for me personally, to be honest, before God and man, I don't feel like in my home I'm required to do more than my husband. I don't think so.
You are blessed. And we pray that God will grace every single person, this kind of man, and the kind of man I have. But let me say this. So if you are getting married, especially the single sisters and brothers in our midst, just shine your eyes, open your eyes, because sometimes we think when we get married, then we can either change the person or the person changes. Listen, marriage does not change people. It rather amplifies their characteristics and their nature. So if you're dating somebody, in a relationship with somebody, and realize the person is lazy, or not necessarily lazy, but expects you to do most of the things, and placing demands on you. Know that once you get married and he or she puts a ring on, that thing will multiply by what? 5 or 10, because now expectations have increased. So we will really need to see who we're getting married to and know what we're getting ourselves into. All right, so my sweetheart says, bam, God has an assignment for the wife in the marketplace. go. Yes, yes, he does. But let me ask you, Dr. J. I agree. I agree that women shouldn't be overly tasked. Okay, men have to support. It says men are like waffles, women are like spaghetti, which means that men think in one direction and women. It's seeming as if women have more resilience. Yeah, can you hear me? Is it better? Oh my God. Is it better? Okay. Yeah, so it's seeming to me as if men can do one thing at a time, whilst women can do multiple things at a time. Does it mean, or doesn't it mean that, or suggest that women can do more than a man in the home, or not do more, but like help more? Because, for example, a woman can, cook like 5 dishes at a time, but if you put the man in the kitchen, he's able to like probably cook an egg in 1 hour. It's like even though some men are good cooks, this is your average man. If you want to clean the living room, a woman can do it faster than a man. I'm being kind of practical and realistic here. Again, because of the way God designed our brain. Men are designed to think about the big picture, and women, deal with the details. That is why we complement each other. So don't you think, what do you think? Like, and by
Generally,
doing more,
sure.
I don't mean doing more in the kitchen, but generally, like, can do more, have the capacity to do more in
Sure,
terms
sure,
of
sure.
taking
I
care of the
believe
home. It's
so.
a
I
question.
believe
It's not my
women,
position
we
necessarily.
have a natural ability to multitask. And also, like, when it comes to just the home as a whole, I believe God has given us grace to be able to think fast, plan ahead. Our brain, remember I said that, I don't know if you heard me, but like men have areas that they specialize in, and women have our specialty just by divine nature,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so there are things that we are naturally good at. And that includes making sure that we have thought ahead, planned. If we are going to cook, immediately you can think in your head how much I need to get, da, 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 and you can arrange things in your head before you even go and execute. I believe we do have the ability to do that. We have the ability to think about the laundry, the kids' room, the
Awesome.
kids' food, our food, all at the
Yes,
same
yes.
time. I don't think some men can do
That,
that. I believe
exactly.
that we have the natural ability to do that more.
Yes,
And I
yes.
could be wrong, but I could be thinking about laundry, thinking about kids' food, their clothes. I make sure the
Beautiful.
shoe is here. If I'm going somewhere, I can immediately
Exactly.
organize so much in my
Exactly.
head. But when my husband is going somewhere, there's his bag. He only thinks about his
Exactly.
travel bag, and he packs his bag and he's gone.
Yes. 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 Can we go? Are we ready? Can we leave?
We have to
I'm
pack the
like, we have
socks, we
kids.
have to pack the clothes,
They
make
have
sure
to
we
go
have
ready
enough
as
clothes
well.
for the
Yeah.
day, enough diapers, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
I believe I don't even know that I'm doing that. It just happens. It's not something I expect. You just do it. So I believe,
Yes. It's
yeah,
natural.
we
Thank
have some
you.
grace to do that.
It just happened. It just happened. That is what I wanted us to emphasize. We have been graced to multitask. If a woman knows that, then if you're playing certain roles, you know that it's not because the man is taking advantage of you. Because trust me, if you leave it to your man to do, it's going to be chaos. So there are areas that the men are good at, but there are some areas that, because, listen, we women, God created us to be nurturers. We are helpers. It doesn't mean you will support somebody. It means we bring order in a space. We problem solve. And so there are certain things that you, the woman, you have to go ahead and do it. Or lead in that way, especially when it comes to detail-oriented tasks. So as we are talking about the fact that the men should help and all that, we wanted to throw this in so that you don't go back and sit down and say, listen, babe, did you join the IG
No,
live today that
no,
they
no, no,
have?
no, no.
Now we're going to do it. You clean
For
the living room, I clean
instance,
the
let me give a
snazing of work.
practical example for
It's
someone to
teamwork
see how
and
this works.
complementarity.
So, for instance,
And
my husband can get the kids ready for bed, right? He can bathe them, get them ready. But you see their pajamas.
yes.
But you see where their pajamas
Read the Bible
is
for
when
them
he's
and
done.
do all
He
of
needs
that.
to find
Yes.
it. He doesn't know where the pajamas is. Like, I have to tell him. So I have to make sure, if I'm going to get that help with the bathing,
Yes.
I always have to make sure that their clothes are
Exactly.
where it needs to be. So that when he's ready to clothe them, he won't come and ask me, where is the shirts? Where is the diaper? It's the...
Exactly. For you to be frustrated, how many times would you ask me?
You
Didn't
don't
you
have to
see it the
fight
last
and
time?
say, oh,
I don't think you have
it's
to
your
pay
child.
attention.
How come you don't
No,
know
don't
where
go
their
there.
pajamas is? He's not
You
thinking
don't
about
have to.
pajamas. Like, he's not. He's thinking about bathing them, but he hasn't thought as far as
It's
what
not.
they wear after they are bathed.
Exactly. Yeah. We will have another IG live on the makeup of men and women. I think that's so fundamental. Once we understand the differences between men and women, there are some of the fights that would immediately stop. Immediately stop. I think because of time, let me just quickly go through and see if I have any comments. Okay, so my husband says, don't put me in the kitchen, put me in the bathroom. Thank you so much, sweetheart. I'll put you in the bathroom. Let me take the kitchen so that there's no argument. We just all play our roles. That's amazing. Divide and conquer, teamwork.
So
That
last
is
but
what
not
we need.
least,
Thank
it
you
is not
so
50-50
much,
women.
Dr. J.
I don't, and plus
think,
we don't, again, if
go
your
ahead.
partner, I don't know a situation where the partner isn't on the same page. I don't know how to relate with that. Mommy, maybe you've seen examples and you can share. But in the case where the husband and you are a team, you don't even see that we have divided roles. It becomes like automatic puzzle pieces that are fitting together seamlessly without nobody saying, this is you, do this. I've never had that conversation with my husband that you clean the kitchen, you cook the food, you fold the clothes. No, automatically you see that somebody will be doing one part and another person will be doing the other part. By the time you realize it has solved itself. And of course there are days when you have to talk about it and stuff like that, but for the most part, if you partner well, people, single ladies, partner well, so you don't fight.
Partner well. Partner well. That is why when you guys have an argument or you're not getting along, things are not going well. That is the time, I don't know whether you've paid attention to it, but that is the time you complain a lot, that you're not being fair to me. I can't be the only one doing all the work. Because it can never be 50-50. At one point, one person is doing more. But the moment you guys are in disagreement, arguing over something, that is when the whole concept of I'm doing too much is highlighted. And if you're not careful, the devil will take over and then will make you feel like you're being taken advantage of. So I think bottom line, there's nothing like 50-50. Gender roles prescribed by men do not have any biblical warrants. Teamwork complementarity is the key. I think at this point, I want to just thank you so much. And I'm going to invite our next panelist, the one and only Dr. Adley Boateng. Adele, if you are on there, can you accept my invite? But I hope you are enjoying this live. Wherever you are, if you have any question, drop it in the chat box. But let me know how the discussion is helping you, is benefiting you right here or even after the IG live. Let me know how it's blessing you. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat room. Adele. But as we mentioned, anytime you go into any marriage, know that the person that you are partnering with, it's somebody. Just be careful, be sure that it's somebody that would understand you, it's somebody that connects to you, it's somebody that would Okay. It's somebody that would respect you. It's somebody that would appreciate you, because trust me, you're going to do so much for that person, and the person is also going to do more for you. Hey! And you just make sure that you're appreciating each other. Welcome, the one and only Dr. Adelaide Ochibwatin, the co-founder and
Thank you,
executive
mommy.
director of
Thank you. Can you
DH by
hear me?
DH.
Can
Welcome,
you hear me?
Adele. Glad to
Okay,
have you
awesome.
here.
I can hear you.
I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me too? Give Adele
I
some
was
love.
wondering how
Give
I was going
Adele
to
some
get
love.
on.
She's
I just
coming on
couldn't
IG
figure it
Live
out.
for
I've
the
never
first
done
time.
it.
Give her some love. All right.
Yeah.
See, there's always a third time. You did well. You did
I know,
awesome.
mommy.
Roles and responsibilities on IG. All right. All right. I think you were listening in all along. And let me just jump on and ask this quick question that I've been thinking about. So we talked about the 50-50 deal and all that, and we've established that men and women have to help each other. The next question is, what do you do? And let me just be blatant here with a lazy spouse. And I don't know whether it's laziness or carelessness or apathy, whatever it is, but the person is not pulling his or her weight. The person is not helping. And I'm talking about both men and women. How do you handle it? And I'm asking Adelaide because I know Adelaide, I know she's a professional, just like Dr. J. She goes and comes, she works hours, but she's such an amazing mom, just like Dr. J. So I brought them on, and I know a lot of us are as well. I've visited both of them. I've seen their homes, and I've seen how they've managed their homes. If you go to Adelaide's home and she's in the kitchen running helter-skelter, as if she doesn't even have a first degree. And I feel like that is the total woman who shines outside and also shines when it comes to the home. But then the husband is just gentle-spirited, hard-working, hands-on dad. So I'm just vibing you here, but tell me how you do
Mommy,
it.
before I get into that
How do you
question,
deal with a
let
lazy
me let
spouse?
me
Tell me.
start off by saying that I know Dr. J has spoken a lot about, the whether it should be 50-50 and spoken a whole lot. But let me start off by saying that household chores has made a lot of couples begin to feel like opponents and not teammates. A lot of people are beginning to feel like they are in a constant battle with each other. I think we have a guest in-house.
I think, hello.
Okay, so a lot of couple feel like,
Go ahead, Adele. Can you drop off for me,
so
Uncle
a lot of
Alex,
couples
for a
begin to
minute?
feel
Thank
like they're in
you.
constant battle with
Alex, go
each
ahead.
other, and they begin to go back and forth, and it gets to a point where one couple begins to feel like they are being taken advantage of. But a lot of the friction that comes with
Came
household chores.
online and I joined the Baker Meal video.
Okay, okay.
Can you,
But the
can
question I
you,
ask myself
thank
is,
you. Sorry about that.
why is the household chores so causes that much friction in the home? A lot of the friction is because the couple think one person is doing more, the other is doing less, and because of that, there's so much tension in the home. And I realized that a lot of the tension was based on expectations people take into the marriage. People go into the marriage with a 50-50% or 50-50 deal in their heads and begin to feel like once that is not met, then the man is not good enough. Or once that is not met, the woman is not good enough. But where did that expectation come from? The expectations we have in marriage, just like Dr. J said, is based on our society, based on our culture and what we saw growing up. Growing up, I never saw my dad mow the lawn. I never ever saw my dad make anything for us to eat. So if I go into the marriage with that same expectation for a husband, then you have failed. Maybe as a man, or as a man, you never saw your dad ever do the lawn, your dad ever make food or breakfast for the family. So you go into the marriage with expectation that this is what a woman does, and if you don't do it, you are not a great wife. So a lot of men that are lazy, women as such, is because of what they have seen growing up. And you can't take a day to change that man. That's what women understand. It's a gradual process. It's
That's right.
patience. I'll get there. So you first have to understand why the man is lazy and why the woman is lazy. You just don't start by nagging. And that's the problem we are facing in homes now. Most women, instead of communicating their needs clearly,
Right.
they rather nag. I didn't come here to be.
Oh my.
Yes,
Tell me about
attitude.
it. Or
Why
attitude,
didn't you?
right?
Well, I didn't come
Attitude.
into the marriage to be a
Muna,
cleaner.
attitude.
I didn't come into the marriage to be a slave. I'm tired of cleaning all the time. And once you do that, especially a woman does that to a man, you shut him off totally. You have lost him. You have lost him. So the approach to dealing with a lazy man is never nagging. If you don't take anything from me tonight, take it that you never nag when your husband or your wife is lazy. It doesn't get the problem solved. In fact, the Bible says that it's better for a man to live on top of a roof than to live in a house with a nagging wife.
Roof. Oh my God.
Mommy, if the Bible was wise enough to say that, that means that problem exists and women naturally nag. So ladies, to solve a problem of a nagging, of a lazy husband, you don't take it from the perspective of nagging. It is not cute. It is not sexy. It's not beautiful. You would nag and nag and nag, and after a little bit, you lose the respect you have in front of that man. Or if you are the man, you would nag and nag and nag, and after a little bit, your wife don't even regard you as the head of the household. So now,
and do you
and the more you
realize
talk,
that for men, the more you talk, the more they look at you? They won't hear. Men don't, women, we reside in the abundance of words, right? That's why there's a saying that when a woman says 30,000 words, a man would have spoken only 10,000 words. A man just cut it short, they get it. Not that it does not mean that the next time they would do it. Because again, I think we've talked about the way their brains are wired. But it's just not disrespecting him with the abundance of your words. I think that's where Adelaide is coming from. They understand the makeup of your man. So you know that if you drag a conversation and drag, thinking that you're hauling down the information, and we are all guilty. We all do that. You do it, and then it gets to a point you're like, okay, I think it's enough. Let me end it. Or your husband will tell you, so you think I didn't hear all that you were saying? And then reality check, you realize you just have to cut it right there. So nagging does not cut it.
So now, how do you handle a lazy husband or a lazy wife? As I said, find out why they're lazy. Is it from their upbringing? Is it from just societal expectations of you? Once that is laid, honey, I realize you don't like to do a lot of house chores. Is there a reason why? I just don't like it. Well, I never saw my mom do it. Why do I do it? But you are dealing with a man whose laziness stems from way back. There are some men, when you ask them why they're lazy, they feel like if they take up chores in the house, the woman would not do anything else. They would rather stay on the phone and then flip their phones. So men choose not to do a lot of the chores because once they begin to act like they can do it, the woman lifts it all the way to for them to take care of. So find out why the man is being lazy. Not in a rude way, in a regular conversation you are having. Honey, I realize that you don't like to do laundry. Is there a reason why? Well, it's just too hectic for me. I just don't. It makes me stressed out. Then you were dealing with something emotional rather than something from their upbringing. Okay, so now you found out why they don't like to do house chores. How do you handle it? The point here is that never ever, ladies, please listen. Never ever address an issue of laziness when the man has demonstrated an act of laziness. I hope you heard that.
You don't even
never
say, why are you being
address the
lazy?
issue of laziness when the woman
Yes.
has just demonstrated an act of. When you realize they've been lazy for quite a little
Good
bit,
point.
that is when you even affirm them. Honey, thank you. Say, affirm them on the things they've already done, the little things they have done, and forget about the one they haven't done. They dropped off the kids at work. Honey, thank you so much for dropping the kids at work. Meanwhile, you're trying to address a laziness issue in the night. Start off in the morning addressing something they did amazing
That's
on.
right.
Honey, thank you so much for changing the laundry, my husband, changing it from washing to a dryer, from a washer to a dryer, something as simple as that. You make a big deal out of it. And right away, they feel like you appreciate them. Meanwhile, the big chore that needs to be done in the house has not been done. That is not the time. He forgot to take care.
That's not been done. And even what he did, he did not do it well, but still, you pretend
like
that
he forgets. Maybe he forgot to take out the trash, and once he forgot, you need to live with the trash the whole week. You walk into the garage and the trash is sitting there, and your heart begins to boil. Oh my God, he didn't take out the trash, and you are so upset. That is when you begin. Mommy, cool yourself down.
Take a shower and cool yourself down. Don't vent.
Because if you're upset,
cool yourself down.
He started
get somewhere. Go get some air.
Upset. So the major thing is don't address the issue of laziness when the man or the woman has just demonstrated an act of laziness. Even when you have seen that, that is when you affirm him. That is when you tell him what an amazing man he is. Honey, I'm so happy out of all the women on this earth, you chose me to be Mrs. Orchard. Then he's walking around feeling so good. He's feeling so hyped. And then at night, mommy, at night.
Exactly. At night.
He's all feeling like.
At night when he feels
like he's the head of the house, and he feels all bummed up, then you be like,
that's right.
A conversation starts. And with a conversation, what I've realized with women in conversation is that they don't go straight to the point. One thing men are not good at is reading minds. They are poor. Mommy, they don't get it. You are upset and you are banging the door.
Indirect communication. They don't get it.
Mommy, so once you find out, once you get that good atmosphere, that good setup, and once you've hyped him all the way from the morning time till night time, whatever time you guys have, that is when you bring that conversation up. He's in the right state of mind to listen to you. Because during the whole thing, you're giving him good food, good everything. Then you bring the topic up, honey. I realized that we couldn't take out the trash yesterday. Is there something we can do so that it doesn't happen again? We can do, not something that you can do.
We can.
So what?
Good job. Good point.
Yes, mommy.
Exactly.
Once you begin to make it our problem, he doesn't feel like you're attacking him.
Yes.
But this is what a lot of women will do. Well, you should have taken out the trash. I don't care. I'm tired of doing this, and I can't do that, and I can't do that. Mommy, right away, his mind is tuned off from you. It doesn't matter.
You are tired.
So
he's also tired of you. So at that point,
it's a problem of us, not his problem. Because, mommy, as we started the conversation, you said there's nowhere in the Bible that said, thou shalt do the dishes, and woman, thou shalt do the laundry. So it is, or man, thou shalt take out the trash. It is nobody's responsibility. It's a shared responsibility. So if once you know you are a team, if one person is falling down, you're helping them up. You are not attacking him. You don't attack him. So once the mood is right, you make it a problem of both of you, and then give them a chance to bring a solution. Let him bring a solution so that it's his idea, not your idea. Let it come from him.
Not your idea. Very good point. Let it come from him. How are we going to solve it? You are the head of the home, not the head of the finance department. Head of the kitchen, head of the laundry room. So now we have an issue. Let's gather
Mommy,
here.
I also wanted to
CEO,
say
come
that
up with
there
your
are men
solution.
that you would do
That's
all this.
that's amazing.
You would, Mommy.
I was going
I'm
to
not.
ask. You read
I
my
was talking to
mind.
my
Come
sister.
on,
My
go
sister was
ahead.
like, actually,
Just talk to us.
maybe don't, yeah. Mommy,
No matter no
do it.
abundance of words, no
With
abundance
such
of
a man,
love and
it takes
respect
praise.
gets into their
It
ears.
takes patience. And it takes grace.
Takes
Prayers,
grace.
patience,
Oh boy.
and grace. But one thing I always tell myself is that one thing my husband was, well, he used to do a lot that I used to get so upset about. Like, oh my God, please help me. He'll come and he'll leave the shoes right in front of the door. And one thing I like is shoes piled up when people are coming in.
Yes.
The shoes are welcome to you. I said it and said it and said it, and it wasn't getting done. And I was like, when I go to work, right? I go to work. The same prescription I fill multiple times every day. Do the same thing every day, and I don't complain. I don't complain. So when we come home and you've said it multiple times, if it's within your means and it's not going to kill you, women, if it's within your means and it's not going to kill you, just go ahead and do it.
Love is patient, love is kind, long suffering. This is the display of love. I love it. It does not mean we are saying we should excuse men's negligence. No. We are not condoning men's negligence. We are not doing that. But I think what Adelaide is trying to say is that some of the nagging and the talking and the anger is not worth it, because the way men's brains are wired, to be honest with you, sometimes they don't remember, genuinely. They don't remember to pick the shoes up, to put the toilet seat down, to put the toothpaste where it's supposed to be at. They come, you've cleaned the surface in the bathroom, everything is cleared. By the time you realize the shaving kit is here, the powder is here, the this is here, the this is here, as if when he came, he did not even realize that you've reorganized the space. The way we think in terms of detail orientation, this is the big picture. So long as I can get into the bathroom, shave, shower, that's all I care about. I don't care about the fine things of this has to be organized in this way, there should be a flower here. That's why you come and they pick the flower and put it somewhere so they can shave. And they will not put it back.
Mommy,
and you come and you're
one
so
thing I
upset.
also wanted to
You
share,
don't even realize that
was that who does what in the house. And that's a conversation I think when you're dating, you should bring up. Sometimes you listen to a young couple getting married and important things to ask while you're dating, they never ask. You'd ask them, so what do you guys talk about? Oh, we talk about our day and we just, we exchange our I love you, and major issues that can affect them. They don't bring it up when they are dating, when they are courting. Because some of these things will get to know, will have you get to see the kind of man you're going to live home with. Honey, what do you think about household chores?
Exactly.
Oh, as for that, I don't know. I don't like to do it. My daddy never did it. They know you're dealing with a man, a traditional guy. So most people don't talk about
Red
it.
flag.
So
you have to
these
talk about
ladies,
it.
single ladies, talk about it. Bring it up when you were dating. It's not all about the butterflies and all about I love you and I can't wait to marry you. No, after the marriage, there's a real life. Will die. Man, it comes up once in a while. It comes up once in a while, though.
Butterflies will die, and then you are here to. And when the butterflies die, that is when reality really sets in.
You should don't go into the marriage or thinking, well, I do 50% and he does 50%, just like we've already established, right? Who does what is based on skill and preference? Skill and preference. Yes. Now, if you can have a husband
skill and
who is a chef at a Marriott hotel and he does not mind doing cooking for the rest of his life, so long as it works for your family dynamics, if he is doing the cooking, then maybe you love to do the laundry and fold. So look at your skill and your preference. when
That's
before
right.
I got married, I used to live with my sister. I did all the bathroom cleaning and everything. I married my husband the first week. He's doing the bathroom. In my head, I was like, ish, he's doing the bathroom. I thought it was a 1 week thing. Then after a week, 2 weeks, a month. Then I asked him, honey,
Mm,
why do you love to do the bathroom? And he was like, I don't understand why a woman with such a soft palm will be put into scrubbing a very hard bathroom while I have all these muscles
wow.
and I can scrub it.
Wow. Wow.
So, mommy, from
Wow.
since I've been married, if you
Wow.
ask me where scrubbing brush is, I don't know. So that is,
Hey,
it might not
me
be a
too. Me
skill he
too.
loves, but it's a skill because he cares about you. So what you
Exactly.
establish, what skill? I love to
Cares
cook. Mommy was saying,
about
come to my
you.
house. I will cook all day. I don't cook one meal. I cook 10 meals. That is me. So once you get married, begin to find the skill that
Yes.
works for each part. And then gradually you realize everybody will be moving into the skill they're comfortable with. And mommy, these
To
household
what?
chores should not be a
Exactly.
do or
Exactly.
die. Every season in the marriage calls for adjustments of these household chores. Different things, mommy. You have a
Come
husband or
on.
you have a wife. Maybe a
Seasons
husband just
change.
lost his job
Exactly.
and the wife is out 12 hours a day going to work, and the husband is home all day. Would you want the woman, because the woman's role is in the kitchen, would you want the woman to go to 12 hours? The Bible says that love and come back and cook. Whilst you, the man, you don't have
And
a
come
job
back.
currently, so you are home.
That's spiritually unfair. That's like not cultural.
The same
Even
with
culturally,
the woman.
it's
The
also,
same with
but
the woman as well.
spiritually,
Mommy, your
you've
husband,
lost it.
maybe you are a housewife.
It's not
I
okay.
know it's hard with
Yes.
kids, but your husband works all day. And then you are home all day. But he comes back home, meets the home in the same state he left it. That is a problem. You're not being fair. So I don't want people to have
That is
roles. This is your role, and whether you are
that is the
dying or
problem.
not, it is your responsibility. Roles in the home changes as seasons change in the marriage. I went to have a C-section. There's absolutely no way I can stand on my feet for 5 days.
Right. That's
And cook. Does it mean the husband thinks it's the woman's
and cook.
responsibility to cook, so we are all not eating? So, mommy, I don't want people to walk around or go into the
That's not
marriage
okay.
thinking this is a woman's job, this is a man's job, and if it's not done, you are disappointed. Go to the marriage with zero expectations.
Yes. And a willingness to help, like just decide that I'm going to help and make my
Great.
spouse happy. If both of you have that concept of making each other happy, we wouldn't even be having a lot of conversation like this in the home because things will just fall in place naturally. 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 But Adley, let me ask you a question. I think you asked a question, but I don't know whether you addressed it completely. What if you are faced with a gentleman, a guy or a lady, like you married to, and you've said everything, the abundance of words, the abundance of portion, nothing is working. Not that the person, well, in some instances, the person in anger say, I'm not going to do it. This is not my job. You've said it, you've explained, you've used scripture, they still don't get it. Again, because of their background and all that, they just think it's not okay to say a man being in the kitchen or a woman doing too much and all of that. You've done everything. And there's also the people who, it's not out of anger, but they just don't want to do it, or they can't do it. How do you handle people in that category where you've exhausted all your talking and all your convincing, all your sweet words, and the person you still feel
My
overly
biggest
burdened, and the person is not
advice to a lot of
helping?
couple that I talk to is that if it's not going to kill you, if do it. Mommy, it will not
Do
kill
it.
you. Mommy, there's
What if
no
it
way.
will kill you?
Mommy, it won't kill you. And if it's not
Oh,
getting
it will
done
kill
and
you.
you are okay, then let's all sit in the chore. Let's all sit in the deep house. That should not cause my marriage to break down.
Mm.
Mommy,
As much as it's within your
So
means,
you've done
Bible says, live
everything you
peaceably
can.
with all people.
You have said, you've used all the soothing words. This man would just not pull his weight. I mean, would it kill you to do the dishes every day? God made women such that we are so amazing at multitasking. Sometimes it blows my mind how I'm able to be cooking, doing laundry, and cleaning the house at the same time. By the time I realize everything is done, and you're sitting there wondering, how did I do it? God has made, if you give a man a chore, if you tell my husband, honey, I'm going to work, and then Miss Cyril, is there any way, Bananka, you've cleaned the living room for me, or even the garage? Is there any way, if you could clean the garage, and when you're done, you bring that sofa from the living room and you bring it, you'll be like, okay. Mommy, by the time you come, he's lifted one sofa. One. The 3 chores you gave him.
Yes, out of the 3 or 5.
I mean, would you?
He's done something at least, right? But I think that before you move on, what you're saying is very insightful because, sometimes even though we know divorce cases usually connect to big issues and all that, it will interest you to know that sometimes it's these little foxes that grow wings. And it gets to a point where one party feels like you're taking advantage of me. But sometimes when the person leaves the home, you're separated. You see that at least no matter how little the person was doing, it was still quite substantial. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, when your spouse travels, sometimes you think they are in the house doing nothing. They don't do much and you're always complaining. But when they travel, how do you feel? You miss them. And at least you would miss 1 or 2 things that if they were there, they would have done for you. So I think we are not condoning the fact that one party shouldn't work. But sometimes you are faced with the rare issue of the person not being raised to be a hard worker or growing into being hardworking, let me put it that way. It will not happen overnight. And you won't kill yourself. You don't want to kill your marriage. So I think that is where Adelaide is coming from. In instances like this, look at the little things that he or she does. Amplify it in your eyes. Be happy about it, and it will give you energy to even do more. Because if he travels or she travels, maybe he takes care of the kids. He puts them in bed. He bathes for them. And when he's not there, those 3 little chores that you trivialize, you realize once you add it onto yours, you get overly burdened. And that should tell you that no matter how small they are doing, at least they are still important. And that's why we have to hype them up and encourage them to even do more, rather than always nagging and thinking you're not doing too much. But Adelaide, at what point?
I always advise newlyweds or people who are going to get married, being a marriage counselor at church. I always tell them, before you get married, find a couple that you are attracted to, and both of you make them your friend. So that this is before you get married. Don't do it after you have gotten married when the situation is bad. They might feel you are taking their business outside.
Yeah.
But get that couple you love and admire. And then begin to talk to them during the dating process. So that if there's an issue, there's always that safe place where both of you can go and feel like you're not reporting nobody. Dinah always tells me something that before you get married, you should always find one person that you know that if I send my husband to this man, he will listen to him.
That's wisdom.
One person.
He will listen to him. Good point. And that is why if you're getting married to somebody who says,
Mommy, that's a problem.
I don't care about anybody. Run away.
No accountability. They can do whatever they want to do, and they feel they can get away with it. No, that is a big problem.
Exactly.
Mommy, go ahead with your question. You were asking a question and I interrupted you.
True. So I think.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So no, I don't have much to say. I've said everything I have to say. I hope I'm communicating.
Yeah, I think so. I think you've answered the question right now. I wanted to know what to do, but I like the fact that you added counseling because there's so much that you can do as the spouse. But I think the second point, we've made it clear, find an accountability partner or person that you can not report, but you can seek help from. Somebody your husband listens or your wife listens to. And I think that, and maybe what I will probably add to it is prayer. Sometimes you just need to take the person up in prayer. 3 days fasting on their head. Lord Jesus, break this hardened heart of stone, make it a heart of flesh so that this guy will listen to me. I was talking to a lady, and the lady was actually going through a difficult situation with her husband. And she was complaining and complaining. She used all the strategies, like everything she could in a nice way, to try and let the husband know the pain that she was going through. But this husband, not that he's a bad man, but men are less emotional than women. So he was kind of trivializing what the woman was going through. So this woman decided to pray. And she prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. And after the prayers and everything, they are in bed one day in the middle of the night, dawn, the husband just wakes this woman up, like literally shivering. I said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yes, what's going on?" "I had a bad dream." And I'm like, "Okay, tomorrow be tomorrow." And then he said that he dreamt, and when he dreamt, he saw the wife standing on a very tall mountain at the tip of the mountain, almost falling down, like almost falling off of the cliff. And so the way he saw it, it was so real that when he woke up, he felt like there was something wrong with the woman. That's why he kind of got up and was like, "Are you okay?" And then the wife goes, "God has revealed to you exactly what I'm going through emotionally. I'm literally at the edge of the cliff, about to fall down." And then the following morning, as if that was not enough, the man's friend, not even the lady's friend, for you to think that, "Oh, probably my wife has called her friend to talk to me." The man's friend calls him, and the message he delivered was simple: "Child, take care of your wife." And then he just hung the phone. That was enough for the man to drop everything and to pay attention to the needs of the wife. So prayer works. If you've done everything and it's not working, talk to this man up there, God, who created the institution of marriage, who created our hearts, who created our mind, who knows the ins and outs of us and our spouses and our weaknesses. And trust me, he will not disappoint you. He will
Work
come
work
through.
on yourself.
As you're praying, you're also checking
You, the
yourself, right?
individual
Where do I also
in
fall
that
short?
position, should also work on yourself.
Work on
Mommy, I
yourself.
wanted to talk about
Exactly.
being appreciative of the little things
Exactly.
our spouses do.
Exactly.
I didn't say the big things. I said the little things. Because a lot of times we are it's very easy to overlook the little things they're doing and not pay attention to that. Maybe you do the cooking all the time and you come home one day and the man has cooked something very simple. Make a big deal out of it. That gives room for him to do more.
Make a big deal out of it.
Make a big deal. You come home and he's done the laundry.
That's right.
He doesn't usually do it. Honey, thank you so much for doing the laundry. Oh my goodness, you might be very tired. That's well, don't you mean sure why? Hey, mommy, these are the things that get them to do more. Appreciate him for the little things they do, especially.
That's
and
right.
I also wanted
That's
to address
right.
this issue, mommy, for the men who think their wives are housewives, or whatever they are doing in the home, it's because they have nothing else to do outside. Don't take that lightly. Being a housewife is a full-time job. Mommy, it's a full-time job.
That's
Especially when
right.
you have
Thank
little
you.
kids running around,
Thank you.
changing diaper, doing all the cooking. So if you have struggled so much at work, when you come home, let that woman also feel like you care about her staying home. Don't think what the work she is doing
Exactly.
at home, because it doesn't bring money.
Exactly.
It doesn't bring money. It's no work.
It's not important.
It's no work. Appreciate the little things
Exactly.
that our spouses
Thank
do
you.
and blow it up to be something. Mommy,
That's
I'm all
right.
about blowing things up.
That's right.
Mommy,
Blow it
it
up.
works like magic.
Oh, it works.
Somebody might call it maybe faking it.
It
Mommy,
works.
it's not.
It
It's
works. It
appreciating
works.
what he has done.
It works.
Yes.
Works.
What works.
Do what works for you. Do what works for you. Adley, because of the time, I think we have some questions. So let me quickly read them so I make sure that we address these. So Mariam, yes, we will be posting this video on my YouTube channel, Cynthia Adom-Portuphy. So afterwards, you can watch the replay and share for others to be blessed. As Seda says, zero expectations, but what if hubby brings his mom home to live with you without first discussing with you? How do you handle it? Asida, I think this is a very important question, but maybe this dealing with in-laws is on my list. We would handle that. It's a heavy topic. I've lived with my mom-in-law like for 6 years in America, so I have it really dear to me. How do we manage our in-laws in such a way that becomes a blessing instead of like, a whole lot of issues and all that? So we will handle that. But I think what I'll throw out on this topic is that when we talked about expectations and all of that, in case your mother-in-law comes to live with you, you would have to adjust a few things. And the teamwork has to be in place. And you have to adjust a few things for the sake of others. Not to say that now the woman should do more, but talk before the mother-in-law arrives in the home. So that even if your husband is cleaning the bathroom and doing this and doing that and doing that, she knows that it's not because you are forcing your husband. We lived with my mother-in-law, may her blessed, beautiful soul rest in peace. The son was actually opted to clean her bathroom. When I said, I want to go and clean Mama's bathroom, he said, no, let me go and clean. When she's sick, it's like, you're cooking. You don't have to stop the cooking and go and clean my mother's bathroom. Let me just go do it. When there's time, I'll do it. But when he realizes that I'm doing something else and Mama is not feeling well, he wouldn't mind going to the bathroom to clean. And the mom never complained because we have spoken. The son has spoken to her. And she also came to the home knowing and seeing that I'm not just using the husband or allowing my husband to do all the chores in the home. And we live peacefully. Beginning, obviously, you have to work things out because you have your differences and all that. But I think communicating between the two of you and the husband being on your side would go a long way to make the woman know that you're a team and she can come between the two of you and mess up the marriage. And obviously, for most mothers-in-law, unless like you are out of this space, they want the marriage to work, but sometimes it's just certain things that they come into the marriage with that sometimes causes problems. So we will handle dealing with in-laws, Asida, pardon me for that, because if we say we will raise this topic, we're going to be on here for another hour, but we will do justice to the topic. Okay, V says, how do you deal with a spouse who refuses to help around the house? I think we've addressed that. Let me know if there's any specific question that you have, but Adelaide has addressed that very well. The last question I want us to handle because of time, and again, if you have more, please let me know, is that, Adelaide, so what do we do? I'm thinking, some men want to take over the kitchen, some men want to do all the work in the home and all that. It's beautiful, and if you have a man like that, it's amazing. But then I'm also thinking two things, two in one, so that we address it because of time. If your man wants to take charge of the kitchen and do everything, is it okay? Somebody might think this question is silly, but I'm arriving at a point for you to relax, cross your leg as the woman, and allow the man to just flow, like take charge of the home. Is it okay? And then the other thing is, we complain a lot that our husbands are not doing well, helping and all of that. But for us women, we are raising boys, we are raising girls. What can we do?
I love the
to
last
make sure
question,
that we
by
are
the
not
way.
repeating
What are we
history?
doing to make
So
sure we are not repeating history? Mommy, I started off by saying that we are a team and we are not opponents. So there should be nothing like my husband is taking over the kitchen. It should be we are taking over the kitchen. Even if your husband loves to be in the kitchen, mommy, you can be standing next to him trying to cut tomatoes as he does the bigger picture. If you leave him in the kitchen, oh, he loves to cook, so you just sit in the living room and you're just flipping IG, flipping. Yes.
IG.
So there's nothing
Hey.
like my wife
Timo.
loves to do the laundry. And all I do, anytime one person feels like they are being taken advantage of, that is where the problem is. So I always say, look at your family dynamics. Study the spouse you live with. If I know there are people who don't want you to interact them, come in their space when they are cooking, fine. But it doesn't mean you should leave them all by themselves in the kitchen. You can be sitting somewhere away from him and having a good conversation with him whilst you guys are cooking. It's a team. We are not in any form of competition. We are working as a team. Now, Mommy, I hope I answered the first question. Okay. Now, Mom, what do we do so that history
Yes, you
does
did.
not repeat itself? What did we started off by saying that most men or women who are lazy, it's because growing up, they never saw daddy do the lawn. They never saw mom cook. They never saw daddy
That's right.
ever do the laundry. Now the kids we are raising at home, we are modeling them for the future. The little ones you have at home, as a father, your sons are looking at you. As a mother, your daughter is looking at you. So, as what you learned growing up, tell yourself, I don't want my kids to turn out this way. I don't want that poor woman to marry my son, not knowing how to do nothing. So, what do you do to solve that? I know some mothers, their kids are 14 years old, they still can't sweep, and you want them to go marry a woman and then begin to do a lawn. I know mothers whose kids are 18 years old, a girl, they can't even cook or fry egg. Is that okay? And that woman, you are modeling them for marriage in the next 4 years. So, Mommy, we as current parents, we should do everything in our power to make sure history does not repeat itself. If you're having an issue with your husband not helping with laundry, with dishes, with the lawn, it's because somebody somewhere decided to ignore these things. Tell yourself, I am not repeating that with my kids. Initially, it's very hard to get kids in America to do anything. Mommy, I'm tired. I don't want to do it. I don't do that. No. I'm not modeling you to go give it to a woman so you go stress that woman out. So please, parents.
Exactly. Tell me about it. But Adley, let me tell you one funny thing. The way I feel bad for Kobe.
Okay.
Our last boy. He's the only boy.
Oh, yeah.
He's the last born. So you might think, Kobe, Adley will say that Kobe, Diana even think Kobe is spoiled, and we pampered Kobe. Now come and see Kobe. Kobe is doing chores, and I feel bad for him because he started doing chores earlier than his sisters. Why? This is why. You know how in America, not even in America, the contemporary ladies feel like, mothers kind of pamper men and just train the women. And from the very get-go, I wanted my girls to know that when they get married in the future, a man has to respect them. And that the kitchen is not just for them, but it's for them and also a man. So that when they get married, even if you take charge of your kitchen, it's not okay for a husband to disrespect you and make you feel like this is where you belong, this is your office. And so Kobe started doing chores when he was only 7. And guess what he was doing? He was just arranging the spoons. Like after we wash the dishes, and mind you, we don't use the dishwasher in my home. No, we don't. Yes, I'm not. You might think I'm a typical African parent. I'm not. It's part of the training process. And so my girls alternate. So when they finish washing the dishes and they clear everything and all that, Kobe's chore was now he's 10, was to arrange the cutlery into the container. And the other chore was to clean all the cabinets, like in the kitchen. He would use like vinegar and all that. I'll just dump it for him and everything. And then he will clean. And come and see his skinny hands with his lefty just going like this. It's so pathetic. But I realized that it had a huge impact on my girls. Because now they feel like, okay, so it's okay for a man to be in the kitchen. And it got to a point, Kobe was like, Mommy, I don't want to do this chore again. I want something else. And I'm like, what do you want? And he also cleaned his room. Mommy, I just want to clean my room. Like, look at you. You are beginning to think that the kitchen is for ladies. Poor thing. You are not moving from the kitchen. You stuck here. You know, so I think the point we are trying to make is that 14 is too old. Once your kids hit 7, 8, 9, start letting them do little things, both the boys and the girls. Let them do it together and do it with them. You are modeling and they are following after. Daddy has to do something. All of you are doing. This person is picking this person is picking this. So you raise girls who know how to accept themselves well in their homes. You also raise boys who will grow up to be men who will respect women and not think that the kitchen is a woman's thing. So I just wanted to throw that out. If you have not started, it's not too late. And as Adelaide mentioned, it's not easy. My girls have really,
Mommy, they feel
it's
like
not
the
fair.
chores, as
It's
you
not this.
grow,
It's
you
not
move
it.
out
You
of
say
something,
this.
somebody
They'll
else
say
lives in
this.
it. Bernard thinks when he gets to 13, he will move out of dishes, and Sam will move to dishes, and Michelle will move to sweeping. When I get to 4, that's what they think. Like, it's just funny the way they reason.
Oh my God. But that's what they think, because I think when Valerie hit, she's 16 now, but when she hit 14, she thought that Verna has to, do the dishes and not her. And the kids, they develop very differently. Valerie is very mature. She can do so many things. Verna is mature, but she's a girly girl. Typical middle child and all that. So if you leave the dishes to Verna alone to do, I have to talk and talk and talk. So I'm like, you know what? We're just going to alternate till you are 17 or 16 and a half.
Mommy,
I think I
it's
have
a
to
very,
let her
very
stop at this point.
important topic, and I
Maybe,
think that's where my passion is. Mothers, please,
yes.
please, please train that little boy in the house to know how to do stuff. It would really, really help them. The same way you're struggling with your husband not helping at home, it's because somebody decided, oh, a man doesn't do anything. And now they're being a burden on a woman, trying to have a woman in the house do everything. So please.
Thank you. I think I have another question that says, what is your perspective on joint accounts? Again, money is a big thing. We have a whole lot of package coming your way very soon in the future, so watch out this space. So joint account, dealing with finances, I've received that request a lot. So I will let you know when we can handle that, and also dealing with in-laws. I think we have that on the table, and multitasking is also another thing that comes to me a lot. So all these topics are topics that we'll be handling in the future. But just in case you have any particular topic that you want us to handle, feel free and drop it in the chat room. If you want to be a panelist on this IG Live, reach out to me. We would assess your passion and all of that, and how you fit into the topics that will be discussed, and we'll take it from there. But I think we'll be wrapping up shortly. We've gone beyond our time. I usually try to do this for 1 hour, but I'm never successful, because when I'm trying to end, that is when the conversations get juicier and juicier, and more and more insightful. So I just want to use this opportunity to thank you. If you have a last chance to, type in a question, please do so. But if not, then I assume that we've answered all your questions. Thank you so much. Good job, our doctors. I think I've seen a lot of God bless yous up there. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Thank you so much for your comments, for your reactions. And I'm just praying and hoping that this life has been a blessing unto you. So just to recap, I think we've talked about the fact that marriage is not a 50-50 deal. And so if we have this concept of 50-50, let's knock it off. It could be 25, and 25, my math, 75 at one point. It could be 90-10, one person may be sick, and seasons come and go. It could be 40-60 at any point in time. But generally speaking, it could be that in the kitchen, you're doing 80-20. It could be that in the living room, you're doing 50-50. The percentages change based on what the situation is. And so being open-minded about that will really help you a lot to build a team. You're not in the marriage to compete. You are in the marriage to complement each other. I repeat that. You are not in the marriage to compete. You are in the marriage to complement each other. And so don't compete, complement, and make sure that you are a team. When you are communicating with your spouse on expectations of roles, don't come from a place of condemnation and attack. Come from the place of love, come from the place of grace, and talk, discuss, and appreciate the little things that your spouse does, and use that as a bait to get him to do or get her to do the big things. We also have established that rigid cultural gender roles do not have any biblical basis or biblical warrant. So anyone that uses the Bible, you have to submit, you have to this, you have to do, you have to that. It's not Bible. Don't use the Bible incorrectly. I pray that this life would be a good source of information for all of us, which will help us build a team. Just like when we're playing soccer or basketball, we have players with different roles, right? Different positions. And each comes together to form the team, and each one plays their role perfectly and effectively and nicely. In the end, we want to score a goal. So we don't aim that one person is scoring a goal and the other is just that, sometimes when it comes to Ghana soccer players, sometimes it's like everybody wants to shine. That's not right. That's not a good mindset. That's why we are so good, and sometimes we don't go far. We have to have one mindset. Our goal is that one goal that we score belongs to the team. So play to score a goal. Don't play individually to score a goal. To play to score a goal as a team. And we just pray that even as we use these resources or these suggestions and these discussions, points that we get from these discussions, the Lord will bless our homes and help us to flourish in all that we do. And everyone that is single on the line, I'm praying that the Lord will open doors for you to get a husband, to get a wife who would team up with you, who would not take you for granted, who would not abuse you, who would not trivialize your efforts, but who would appreciate you. Thank you once again, and I want to give a big shout out to Dr. J. God bless you for your insightful contribution, and obviously Dr. Adele. I see that your whole village is here. Thank you, and God bless you. Your big village. God bless you all. Wonderful people, wonderful family for joining in. I will catch you once again on the next IG Live, and I'll be sharing nuggets of what we've also discussed on